come to my retreats in Tuscany have already done a thing or two. They might be in a job that was thrilling 20 years ago, but no longer excites them. Or they are mothers whose children have moved on to their own adventures, leaving a gaping hole behind. Others come to my retreats who've achieved the goal they set for themselves, yet find that something is missing now they've finally reached the top. Women turn up who are searching for a role that is not so much about pleasing others or making money, as about igniting their passion for living once again. Some have been longing to abandon the security of a salary to take a creative risk. Others find that they don't care anymore about their status in the world, but want to do something that has meaning for them. Others thought they would love early retirement, but are now climbing the walls, longing for a challenge. And then there are people like me, who still love what they're doing, but who crave less social isolation and more real social interaction. That's one thing I learned at my own crossroads. Just keeping on going through the motions is not for me, or for anyone who wants to feel truly alive. I can't remember life without work. When I was 11, my day began a few hours before the school bell rang. I was a lucky girl, I thought, because I had a job. Before the rest of my family were awake, I would drag myself to the newsagent's shop run by Mr. Singh, a kind and fatherly person who seemed quite exotic in the rural town in northern England where I grew up. The shop was pungent with spices, and Indian music tantalized my ears, all of it a far cry from the kitchen at home. Rain or shine, I plunked that heavy newspaper sack over my bicycle handlebars and went door to door delivering the morning paper. Then I went to school. Every Sunday, Mr. Singh rewarded me with a handful of change. I flushed with pride each time, because this was my money. I had earned it. Jump forward several decades. Luckily, I'd moved up from being a paper girl and found a calling that took me way beyond the satisfaction of earning my own money. I had begun with dabbing paint on the walls of my home in Montreal and had been successful beyond my wildest dreams. I had just wrapped up a grueling schedule of filming my 4th television series, All for One, at the same time as I was running a branded product line at Canada's largest retailer, and I was exhausted. I decided to treat myself to a week of rest and recuperation, far from home and all its demands, on the tropical island of Koh Samui, off the coast of Thailand. I know how lucky I was to be able to take such a break. On my last day there, I decided to have a sauna. It was one of the new infrared things, a superheated wooden crate with a bench inside and a slatted grate through which I could look out into the jungle. The Thai therapist had left me to steam out my bodily toxins for half an hour, and I was only 8 minutes in and deathly bored with my own company. She told me it was okay to go outside to drink some water if I became too hot, so I felt I had permission to get out of there for a minute or two. Distraction. I desperately needed distraction. Alongside the water bottles in the lounging area was a pile of gossip magazines and one lonesome book. I'd read just about every fact about Kim Kardashian's bottom and Justin Bieber's latest antics on the long flight over, so I grabbed the book and headed back into the oven. The sweat-wrinkled paperback was about finding happiness. I groaned. I'd always been too busy for self-help books, or maybe I had to be so much in control of my own destiny that I couldn't acknowledge I was ever in need of the kind of help they provide. But at that moment, either I kept listening to my own noisy thoughts, or I opened the book. I opened the book. The first sentence asked me to think of the things in my life that bring me happiness. Okay, that I could do. I was in my early 50s. I'm feeling pretty good about myself. 2 wonderful kids, a husband I loved, and a career I'd excelled in. On top of all that, I had many friends dotted around the world, and I was in good health. I figured I was high up there on the happiness spectrum. But by the time I stepped out of the sweatbox 20 minutes later, I was beet red, partly thanks to the heat, but also because I'd cried so much my puffy face resembled a blowfish. The serene and unflappable Thai therapist looked startled by the state I was in and explained to me that the mixture of the detoxing heat and the small space could make people mindful. That was one word for it. I wish she'd told me that before I'd entered the little coffin. The book had asked one simple question: was I happy? It rocked me to the core. The thought that I might